Good morning. Welcome to Blue River Stained Glass. I'm Timothy Conway. My wife and I, Janice, have owned and operated Blue River Stained Glass as a retail registered merchants with the state of Indiana since 2003. Today, I think we will do what we call here in the glass shop a 3D butterfly. With 3,000 different colors and textures of glass, the combinations are astronomical. So you can do just about anything you'd like to do. So today I've picked out a purple streaky glass. Once you pick out the color glass you want to use, you have to cut your pattern out and glue your pattern on. I don't know if you can see this or not, but I will show you how we cut this out. The butterfly itself is consisted of four wings, four pieces of wings, two large ones for a front and a back, and you have a front and a back and a small one for the front and the back. So we have to cut all of our pieces out first. Once the pieces are cut out, then we have to grind them because there's a really sharp edge on the glass and you don't want to cut your fingers. This might be an optical illusion because I'm working with a purple and cream colored glass, and we're going to end up making a red one. But we cut out our pieces of glass, the four pieces, so we can do this. So I already, to save time, I have already got my four pieces of glass that we're going to do for the butterfly today. Okay, so we'll put this out of the way and we'll get started. This is about an hour and a half to 2 hour project, but since I have done the preliminary work, we should be able to do it in about 20 minutes or so. I'm working with a pattern here to give us an idea of what our butterfly should look like. So I have a nice piece of lead here. It's called a 3/16 inch round lead, and we're going to make the butterfly body out of this. So I need a pair of pliers to kind of give a little curvature to the tail of the body of the butterfly, because they're just not all wings. Okay, so we'll cut this off here. We're working with a 700-degree soldering iron, so we're working with a little bit of heat today, and our solder is just going to melt at a little over 400 degrees. Okay, so I take two pieces of 18 gauge wire, which might be hard to see in the video, and I use my electric drill and we twist them together so we get this nice little fine wire that looks like it's a woven wire. So we cut this wire off because we're going to we want to do a little bit of have a little bit of strength to the antenna on our butterflies, because they get kind of fragile there. So we'll just snap off a little piece of wire here. Okay, so now we have made the body of the butterfly, and now we're going to attach the antenna. So I will hold the antenna here and put a little flux on this, because the flux will help clean the wire and the lead and help our solder flow better. So like I say, we're using a 700-degree soldering iron, so it gets pretty hot really quick. So you can probably hear the sizzle of the solder. Now, in order to achieve a little bit of a curvature in it, I'm just going to use anything round to kind of give us a little bit of a curvature in here. And if these look just a little bit long, at this point in time now, we can just kind of clip them a little bit. Because we don't want a monster butterfly here. We want something to look aesthetically nice. So then I have some wire working pliers here that we just go ahead and make a little curve so that it doesn't catch on anything. Okay, so now see we have the body of the butterfly ready, and we have the antenna on it. All right, so now we're going to use a nice flat hobby lead to put around the edges of our butterfly wings so that we have a nice smooth finish, and they look really, it has a nice edge here. Okay, so first of all, like I say, on this we're just going to wrap around and tack solder the lead, and then I'm going to use some wire to add a little flare to the wings. You know, I'm using a streaky glass, so it already has a pattern to the glass, but we want to, when we add the wire to it, to really spruce things up here. All right, just one little touch of solder, and that is okay. See, we've got it covered. Okay, so we'll do our second one. See, if we don't grind the edge of our glass here and get a little bit smooth, then we'll have a sharp edge that could actually cut through lead, or you can, worse yet, you cut your fingers. I've done a few of those. So a little bit of flux, a little bit of solder, just a minute bit of solder that holds it together. Okay, so now we have two. Like I say, now I'm going to lay the front half of the butterfly together, and we're going to tack it together so that we'll have half of, I'm just using a pattern so we get a nice, it looks, no man, I was going too fast. I need to put my wire on first. Okay, there you go. See, sometimes you forget what you're doing. So I'm using just a clear plastic tube here. This one happens to be a gold dollar tube, which makes the wire just about the right size. I could have went ahead and put those together, but then it makes it harder to put the wire on. So I'm just going to put this on to enhance the grain of the glass. Okay, not much to hold on. Then I use my wire working pliers, which are a wonderful, wonderful tool. Okay, now I'm going to use a smaller circle. It's easier if you have something that gives you a semblance of a circle and an arc, because the wire at some time can bend and not look really nice for you. So like I said, sometimes I use the end of a magic marker. I use the glue stick, a dowel rod, you know, a plastic coin tube, whatever, just to make it round. Then I'm going to take my pliers and just bend this right around in here. Okay, so see, there we enhance it that way. Okay, so there's the first one done, and I got ahead of myself on the first one, but we'll get right back in the groove here in a minute. Okay, now this is a smaller wing, so therefore I'm going to use a smaller circle on the big part. Okay, here we go. Like I say, we just a little bit of flux. And this wire being an 18 gauge wire, the heat really travels up fast. So if you'll notice, I'm just barely touching it enough to get it on there. I like to do everything with, you have more control by using your fingers. I mean, you know, they make pliers and stuff for that, but you know, if you, there we go. Okay, and now this is a smaller wing, so it calls for a smaller piece. So now I'm going to use this dowel rod here. And just go around. Give us an idea of what we're doing. We'll snip off a little bit of the wire. Plunk, it hit my trash can. Did you hear it? Okay. A little bit of flux and just a little bit of solder to hold it in place. There we go. Like I say, I love these wire pliers. I've gotten pretty handy with these over the course of the years. Okay, then this is the second half of the front wing. So now I will lay these on my pattern so that we get it pretty much, everything's all spread out. Looks like the butterfly's in full regalia this way. So we'll move it right here and move it right here a little bit. Okay, well, a little bit of flux, a little bit of solder. For now, we are just actually tack soldering this together, not adding a whole lot, because we'll strengthen it when we get both pieces together. And this is the front half of a butterfly, okay? I'll put just a little bit of solder here to hold it together, because like I say, if we put too much, then when we put the two halves together, then it wants to rock and not be level. Okay, so that one's done. So now we're going to do the second half the same way. We'll lay this one aside. And they're identical pieces. It's just that the way we position them on the pattern to give them. Okay, so we're going to wrap her, lay it around. Hey, we got a pretty nice day to work today. A little cool breeze. Don't have to have the air on in the shop. That's nice. It's hard to define what we want to make, you know, so we make various butterflies, dragonflies, make a lot of birds, different kinds of birds. Cardinal seems to be a really popular bird. I make a lot of those. Janice helps me out here in the shop, but I can't much get her to use this 700-degree soldering iron. Wonder why she's afraid of that. But she'll cut and grind for me in foil. So I guess she's doing her part and I'm doing the finished part. This is basically, you have to say it's a little bit like the game of golf. You know, it takes a lot of prep work and you driving looking good, but you make your money on the finished end. So you have to just, that's where it all shows together. Oop, I guess I better hold that for a second so it'll stick. Okay, there's the second half. Now we'll just lay him on the pattern. Whoop, nope, almost got ahead of myself again with the wire. All right, here we go. Put the wire around here. A nice little wrap. Put it down here. See, no two butterflies are alike, so you know you're not going to get these exactly alike. I don't even know if you'll find two snowflakes alike. But we'll get this in here, and in about 2 minutes or so, we'll probably be ready to start assembling, so it'll really take shape. Okay. Take my pliers and give it a little nice little curlicue in here. The good part about this is, by using the hobby lead we wrap around the outside, it gives a nice finished look, and you don't have to spend probably a half hour or so wrapping there's a copper foil you have to wrap around the edge of the glass if you're not using this hobby lead, and it'll take about a half hour, 45 minutes to do the 4 pieces there, because the actual copper is what holds your glass together. The solder itself will not stick to glass. It has to have a metal base somewhere. Okay, here we go. We're just about to get wing number 3 of 4 done. There we go. Little twist of the old wire. Get him looking good here. I make a lot of gifts for when we do for weddings, and usually at church when children are born, we make a nice little teddy bear with a heart on it. We put the baby's name, birthday on it, or not the weight, but the birthday on it, and we give it to the folks. The little teddy bear is holding a heart, so you know that's pretty. It hits the spot for mom and dad. because kids, you know, like I say, then if we need a wedding gift or something, and you know, this is handmade, you know, in the USA. So, you know, you can always go somewhere and buy something at one of the discount house stuff. We don't want to do that. And this is, like I say, you can get one or two items, but close, but they're not going to be identical because everything is cut by hand. You know, sometimes there's little small nuances even when you do stuff. See, this is a little smaller, so I'm going to incorporate my top off of my magic marker here. Even when something's machine made, if you'll notice, there's if you've ever compared many of them, the little nuances, they're not exactly the same. So get rid of that little piece of wire, and we're just about ready to start assembling. Here, I'll get this in here. If you notice, my table's not perfectly level, so sometimes if I knock something over, it's round, it rolls off on the floor. But all right, whoops, got a little warm on that one. Got to learn to let go of the wire pretty quick. Okay, pull this down here. Okay, so here's the two. Here are going to be my two pieces for the back part. So I'll put these, and they'll go like so. Okay, so I'll hook these together, and then we'll be ready to assemble. Okay, like I say, that's the bottom half, so we definitely want to make sure we don't have an excessive amount of solder on it, because like I say, it won't let us mount things together right. Okay, back half, front half. We'll lay it on our pattern. We'll flex this up a little bit. We'll take a little bit of solder here to hold it together. Ooh, hear it steam and sizzle? That's good. That means we've got a good bond between our lead and our solder. Okay, now we actually have, this is the body to our butterfly, okay? Now we're going to, you saw me make the body with the antenna on it. So now we need to attach that. So we'll flex this up real good so that it sticks, because it takes, the flux helps the solder flow. So we're going to put this right about here. Well, let's see, I'll take my pliers and bend it just a little bit more to give a curvature to the body. There we go. And then we'll tack solder to the back side. Put a little more flux right here. Just a little bit more solder. Okay, now we have our butterfly together. We'll pull these out a little bit. There. Our butterfly is complete except for the hanging ring. And I'm getting ready to use a box file. And I'm using a 9mm jewelry ring. You get these, they're perfectly round. They're a whole lot easier to just buy a package for $3 or $4 than to try to make them, because by the time you cut them, you never get them round, and these are so nice. So you pay less than a penny a piece for them. So I'm gonna take my file, and when we wrap this lead around the glass, there's a nice little edge that folds over. So what I'm doing is I'm cutting a groove in this edge so that our circle will fit down against the glass. Then we don't have any well, we have very little. We have very little possibility of the soldering ring to pull loose. Sometimes, you know, if you just solder it to the edge of your lead and stuff, it could pull loose due to the weight of the glass. But I'm going to take the soldering ring here, get a little, warm it up just a little bit. Like I say, we're using a 700-degree iron, so it doesn't take long for this wire to get pretty hot. Okay, we got it right here, and it's fitting in that groove. We've got that fluxed. Let that hold for a second. There you go, folks. Okay. Now, at this point in time, the only thing left to do is to take it downstairs and wash it really good with hot soapy water and put a hanging string on it, and we're ready to go. Alrighty? Thanks for stopping by today. Hope to have another project pretty soon for you. Thank you.